Hey guys, welcome to Kristen Kelly TV. So I'm actually filming in my living room today, so sorry it's like kind of ghetto in the back. It's almost Christmas, as you all know, so I've just started putting up the Christmas stuff, and Christmas is like 2 months away. It hasn't even been Thanksgiving yet, but that doesn't matter. I'm getting in the spirit. So today I'm going to be doing a new video for you guys, which I was going to do. I actually started recording a video for one of these things, and I was like, you know what, let me just do. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to do 5 most embarrassing things. I'm like, you know what, I have way too many things. So I'm going to do 10. I'm going to try to condense them down. Sorry if it's like a very long video. So the number 1 embarrassing thing that I did was I pooped my pants. So when I was 20 years old, I was like really shy. Like I wouldn't like fart in front of a guy, or as I say, toot. And I wouldn't, like, if I was gonna use like the restroom and I had to like poop, like it was such a big deal. Like I didn't want to do it at a guy's house. And like my boyfriend now, you know, like I toot in front of him, and like I put the door open, I have no shame. However, at the time I was just really young and stuff. So when I was about 20 years old, I was a vegetarian, and I was a vegetarian for a few years. I was a vegan for a little bit of time too, but I was a vegetarian for a few years. So my boyfriend at the time and we went out and we got a pizza, and the pizza guy was like, oh, these tomatoes are the freshest and the juiciest tomatoes you've ever had. So my boyfriend and I, we were both like, okay, let's get this like pizza. So we get it, we go home, we like watching a movie, and he's like, oh, I don't really like these tomatoes. He's kind of brushing the tomatoes off, and I'm like, oh, you don't like these tomatoes? The best tomatoes I've ever had. So I'm like scooping these tomatoes in my mouth, and I'm like taking all of his tomatoes, taking tomatoes off the other sides of the pizza, putting it on my pieces, so all the best tomatoes ever. Around 3 in the morning, I wake up because I was in so much pain. So I ran to the bathroom, and I was just like diarrheaing, like buckets and buckets, like diarrheaing, and I was like throwing up in the waist side little basket. So I'm throwing up, diarrheaing, throwing up, diarrheaing. At one point, I was throwing up in the shower while I was diarrheaing on the toilet. It was disgusting. It was crazy. I also was like really embarrassed about stuff like that at the time, so I didn't want him to hear me, and I was like kind of like kept looking over. I was like, get the door shut. So I can hear me throwing up and puking and pooping. So I get into bed around, I would say 7:30. At 8 o'clock he wakes up, he has to go to work. He was like 7 years older than me. So it's really like telling, like relationships you have when you're younger, I think are really important, because you realize like what you want and what you don't want in relationships. And just think the fact that I was so scared about like bodily fluids, like him knowing about that, even I was sick. And he was really rude towards me. Like looking back on it, I can't even believe that like I dated someone like that, because he was like so uncaring. But you know, when you're young, you do stupid things. So he was like, you need to move your car. Your car is behind me. And I was like, I really don't want to move my car. I don't feel good. Could you move my car and like put my keys in my car, like put them in the back seat? He was like, no, you need to move your car. So I like went down, and I was so pissed off that I had to move my car. So he like sped off without talking to me, and I was just like sitting in my car, and I just shit my pants. And I'm not talking about a little cutie little poop. I'm talking about like I shit my pants, like all over my ass, down my legs. Like it was awful. And it like with food poisoning, like diarrhea is not like regular like run-of-the-mill diarrhea. It's like your body thinks you're dying. Like I was just like, ah. My building was gigantic. There was, I had like 26 floors, 28 floors. There was so many people. The garage itself, I think, was like 4 stories or something crazy. So I could not physically like walk in these pants up into the elevator and like go to my apartment. So I had to take off my pants. So I took off my pants. All I had on was a shirt. And I rode up this elevator, and it was like the hand of God came down and made no other people get in that elevator. Because the whole time I lived there, I never, ever did not have people like going in and out of the elevator when I was in there. And this was like 8 a.m. This was like the time when people took elevator rides. I got the elevator door open, I ran to my apartment, And I think I like cried in the shower, and I kind of like blacked it out. Like I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell anybody. I don't know why, but I definitely never told that boyfriend. But yeah, it was just so crazy, and I think I may have only told like 5 people that story. But I don't know. It's just, you know, we're all human. Y'all crap your pants sometimes. Fucks given, 0. Number 2. Oh, by the way, I just got my new iPhone 6s Plus in rose gold, and I got a new cover. Okay. So, when I was about 22, 23, I was at a bar with my best friend Julie, who I'm sure she actually like forgets a lot of stuff. I don't know, she might remember this. So we're at this bar, and at the time I was like doing Miss USA, like Miss USA Massachusetts, and I was like doing all these beauty pageants, and I was working a lot. I had like 3 jobs. Sorry, ambulance. So I had like 3 jobs at the time. Like I was doing alcohol promotion, I was working in a store, I was doing some real estate stuff. So I was like saving a lot of money, and I was also living in an apartment building that my parents owned. So I wasn't paying rent, so I was saving and working and like really working. And I had just bought this dress for Miss USA Massachusetts, and the dress itself was over $3,000. And then the pageant itself was expensive and all this other stuff. And I was also working, you know, and I was saving, like I wanted to get a house and all this stuff. So I'm at the bar with my friend Julie and some other people, and we were in this town called Gloucester, which is like the town next to where my parents lived, which I actually really like. I think it's a really fun town. In the future, I'd like to get a little like property there for the summers. But we're there, and this like guy like elbowed me so hard, and my drink like flew out of my hand, and then he started like screaming in my face like I did it, and I'm like, you need to buy me another drink. And he's like, I'm not buying you a drink. And I don't know why my eyes started like watering, and I was like starting to like cry at a bar because some random man like spilled my like $8 drink. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. And then I was like, I work for everything I have. Like, I don't even know why I said that, because my parents, you know, like supported me my whole life pretty much. Like, it's just so funny. Like, I was acting like, you know, I was like living paycheck to paycheck, which I wasn't, you know, I didn't even pay rent. And I think my parents were still paying my groceries, actually. I don't know, stuff, but I was like, I pay for everything again. And I was like crying because I was in like a Lifetime movie. It was my period too. But like all my friends I was with were like so like, are you okay? Like one of my friends like brought in the bathroom, and I was like, I hate that guy. Like, I think I just wanted to make him feel bad. And then this like random guy bought me a drink and was like, tell your friend I'm so sorry. And I don't know, it was just really embarrassing because it was so weird. Like I was just so dramatic, like I was in a movie. And then my friend Julie, like the next day, we're like at her house, you know, doing the thing you do after you're drunk, like just talking, and she's like, dude, like what the hell was wrong with you last night? Like you were crying as a crackhead. It was like, oh my god. That was really embarrassing. I'm still embarrassed about that. So number 3 most embarrassing thing I've ever done is I was very drunk, and I was about 21, and I was at my friend's house, and it was a pool party, and I was wearing a bikini, and I got my period. So my friend gave me a tampon to put the tampon in. We're like at her house, you know, we're all drinking. I'm talking about drinking. You know, taking shots, like, you know, Southern California. We're all like partying. It's just crazy. And my friend's boyfriend, it had like come out that he was cheating on her at the party. Like he was texting somebody, and someone else saw his phone, and it said this girl's name, and that girl like knew her boyfriend knew that girl, so they contacted her at the party, and the girl was like, yeah, I've been seeing this guy, what do you mean he has a girlfriend? It was just this like huge dramatic thing. And me being like very spicy when I am, I went crazy because I'm like my best friends. So I'm like screaming at him and like fighting him, and he's like yelling at me, and all these people are getting involved. And some guy like grabbed me to like hold me back, and I don't know why, but I was just like, what's the most fucked up thing I could do to this guy? I pulled my tampon out, my bloody tampon that was inside me, and whipped it at this guy's head, and it hit him in the face and like ricocheted off his head. That ended the fight quite quickly. And then like he got the hell out of there, and it was crazy because like all of my friends were just like, it wasn't even like that was like a big deal. And like reflecting, that's like one of the weirdest things you could have done. I don't know. You know, I don't think I was really embarrassed about it at the time, actually. I think because I'm like kind of a feminist, so it was kind of like, you know, oh, to women, like women rock, we get our periods, we make babies. You couldn't pull that out of your penis. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. Okay. Okay, so this is number 4, which I don't really even know if this is that embarrassing, but I guess it was kind of embarrassing. So I was on vacation in Massachusetts, and I was visiting my friend, and we went out, she had like 6 roommates, we went out with her roommates, and we were at the beach, and her friend was like really self-conscious about being in a bikini, and this girl was like hot and skinny, so it made no sense. And she was talking to me, and she was like, yeah, I just like really want to lose weight, and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, how much do you eat? I meant this as like, you need to eat more if you're not eating enough, and she was very skinny, so if you're not eating enough, your body's holding on to fat, so you can't lose more weight. And this girl took this as I was saying, you're a fat pig, how much do you eat a day? So she like goes off and tells all the other roommates and my friend and all these like people who I don't know, I've never met before, that I called her fat, and that I said she was a fat pig or fat or something on the lines of fat, I don't know. And she actually had grabbed my arm like this, like talking to me, and left imprints on my arm, because like I'm anemic because I don't eat enough meat, so I take like iron pills and stuff, but there was like literally a handprint from this girl, so she clearly was, you know, very distraught about me saying this comment, but I really meant no disrespect. So that was very embarrassing, because it was like everyone at this party, you know, kind of hated me, and I didn't really, you know, it's like you can't defend yourself once that's happened, you know, like you can't defend your... But the next day my friend was like, oh, because I was like, hey, can I have her number? I'm gonna call her and apologize, and she was like, no, she even said she overreacted. Okay, so one time I was Britney Spears at a bar, because this new Britney Spears song had just come out. I think it was Slave. I'm a slave. Oh, I mean, I think it was like the Blackout album had just come out. And I was at this bar in Hollywood, and I just got so drunk with my friend Daniela, and we were just like dancing. Like in my mind, my hair looked beautiful, my makeup was on point, like I just looked so sexy, and I was like dancing around. I was like on the pool table at one point, and like everyone was staring at me, and everyone's like, she's so beautiful. So the next day, my friend Steven was like, dude, what the hell was wrong with you last night? And I was like, what? Like, I looked great. My hair was on point. My makeup was amazing. Like, I looked wonderful. He's like, you looked insane. He's like, you looked like you put your finger into an electric socket, like a cartoon, and your hair was like so frizzed out and nutty looking. And I think it's because the guy teased it, but in my mind, I like looked real hot. You know, I was probably drinking like before I left. And then he's like, also, you just looked crazy. You couldn't even stand. Like, you couldn't even, like, move. And you were like, but in my mind, I was, like, dancing. In my mind, I was Britney Spears. I was like, I'm a slave. Like, in my mind, I was so hot. But in real life, I was, like, a mess. And he's like, yeah, like, people were playing pool, and you were, like, crawling on the pool table. And, like, everyone was trying to, like, get you off. And, like, it was so funny, because my recollection of it was that I looked hot as hell, but apparently I was like a hot mess. Oh god. Okay, so when I was on Bad Girls Club, this was very embarrassing. This was real embarrassing. So there was a staircase in the house, and this girl Kat had taken some water and was like throwing the water like off the staircase onto some like people. And I ran up the staircase and fell down the staircase, and I like fell to the bottom of the staircase, and there was like a bunch of like these crew members here, and I had like a really big crush on this one crew member, which is so weird because he's like short and ugly, and like I don't know, I think I was just like delusional in my mind. I thought he was different. But I was like looked up at him, and like looking at all the other people, and it's like all these people I didn't like were like fighting like at the bottom of the stairs, and I was like hurt, like I was like help, and I was like drunk, so I was like help me. I'm like drunk in all of these stories. I'm like and like people are like walking over me like I was like roadkill, and this like one guy finally helped me out, who like didn't even like, he was like just fucking Christ. But yeah, that was embarrassing. Oh my god, just so many drunk things. Okay, so this is like, I'm not embarrassed by this. I was embarrassed, but I think that the things that make this even stranger are other people's reactions. So when I was a freshman in high school, like a freshman, you know, you're awkward. I was 13 when I was a freshman. I had braces. I had like really like bad, like brown, like crazy hair. I had braces. I had braces for 6 years. I had like really bad acne. I was My mom was like a tomboy, so I didn't really have like women inspirations. I was very like nervous. I'd look at the ground. I was talking to people. I was just, and my lips, I know everyone's always like, oh, your lips are so great. My lips have always been like really, really big. But I think I've grown into my big lips. But my lips were kind of like awkward at the time because they were so big. So my freshman picture, in the yearbook, the pictures are, okay, first day of school, you get a picture taken. And that picture is used for like your student ID. But then additionally, the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they get like a different picture taken for the yearbook. But the freshmen, for some reason, their picture they took their first day for their ID picture was the picture they used for the yearbook, which I didn't know when I was, in like the 9th grade. So I get up there and I'm just like, my hair is greasy. Also, like, I didn't like wash my hair enough. I was just like kind of a mess when I was a freshman in high school. Like, we didn't have YouTube, I didn't like read beauty magazines. I was just kind of a mess, and I was really shy, and I was like really scared around people. Okay. So, already first day of school, you're already nervous and stuff. So they go up and they're just like snap, 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 like you're at DMV, like go next. So I'm standing like, take a picture, I didn't smile back then because I had braces, all of that. So this picture is the yearbook picture. I don't care, I'm in the 8th grade. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh God, that's like such a bad picture. So I was kind of a little embarrassed at that point because I was like, oh, even though I was not like super attractive at that point, I looked like Mexican in the picture. I didn't even look like myself. So I was like, oh, well, that's kind of embarrassing, whatever. I don't really care. I don't really think about it. So I would say maybe, I don't even know. Well, my high school boyfriend, we're still friends. And I remember we went and visited other people from high school, like, I was like 22, 23. And they like brought out the yearbooks, and he like brings out the yearbook, and everyone kind of started like laughing about me because he's like showing my picture, and everyone's like ha 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 ha, like laughing about that I look like so ugly or this or that. And I was like, it's just a picture, and to be honest, like, yeah, your looks kind of matter, but I'm the same person I am, and I feel very defensive of who I was at that age, because I was very awkward, and I was, 13, and I don't like anybody picking on anyone about like really how they look, especially. I'm not going to defend your categorization of myself into, oh, I looked ugly, because I didn't look ugly. Having braces, having acne, having dark hair that was like all frizzed out and greasy, none of those things like make you ugly. Being a bad person makes you ugly, and I've never been a bad person. So I'm like very defensive, and I was kind of like, okay, yeah, it's like, who the hell does take that picture? But at the same time, I was like, I still, and I had like very big lips, so I was like, kind of like weird looking, but whatever. So also black in the picture. And I kind of like, I didn't care, but I was like hurting feelings a little bit, but I was like, whatever, who cares about a picture taken when you were in the 8th grade at the first day of school. So then I would say after I did Bad Girls, this is like another thing I was like kind of weird about my high school, is I went to a really small high school. So I think the fact that I was on a TV show, even though to me it has never been like that big of a deal, I think for other people it was a big deal, which I don't by any means, think of myself as like some huge success for being on like a reality show. I don't at all. Like, I think I'm a huge success for other aspects of my life, for being an amazing daughter, for being an amazing girlfriend, for being an amazing mom to my dogs, for having like a great eye for this and for that, I don't, and like I do act and I pride myself for my acting abilities and whatnot, but being on a TV show was not that, it wasn't like I was a series regular on a network, movie or network show. It was not that big of a deal to me. However, people in my high school, I think, not everyone, of course, but to some people who like didn't know me in high school, they kind of saw that as like, oh, this is like an opportunity now to like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they were jealous or they just like wanted to talk shit, or, it's like when people don't know you and then they like pass judgment on you, or they don't know you and they see you like, on some shit. It's also, I think they would be like, oh, I know that person, or I knew that person when I don't even know. So this was like right after the show had gotten out. I had like 6 different people from my high school. And note that like my sophomore, my junior, and my senior high school photos were beautiful. But like my freshman one was like kind of awkward. It's not the best photo, but I don't care. So like 6 different people from my high school had like posted that like on different places, like on Facebook and on Instagram and on like Twitter, kind of being like, oh, she thinks she's so wonderful, which I don't. Like, oh, look at this, like, oh, look at her, like, kind of saying I wasn't, like, perfect. I've never said I was perfect. I've never been like, oh my god, I'm so amazing. So that in itself was, like, okay, you know, like, what, that was just so weird. There was another picture with this girl who I'm not friends with anymore because she was a psychopath, like, just a psychopath. Like, she would steal from her friends, and, like, she stole my ID, and, like, she stole my ID a month before her 21st birthday. She was, like, a psychopath. And I had taken a picture with her at one time when I had just like OD'd on bronzer, like I just looked crazy. And it was her and I in the photo. I know that she was the only one that had the photo because it was her camera that it was taken with, and it was like back in the day when it was like a disposable camera. So this girl from Bad Girls Club, Leah, and I, like, at the time we were feuding after the show, but now we're fine, but at the time we were feuding. And Leah, like, posted a picture on Twitter, that picture that I had taken with the psycho girl from high school, and was like, oh, I'm jealous of this, because I guess people were saying she's jealous of me, which I didn't say. But it was like that picture, and I was like, wow, like it just shows that there's some people who are just like waiting for, you know, something to happen. Like they just want to like put out bad energy, put something negative about you out there. And I was like, yeah, I OD'd on bronzer, like who the hell cares? You know what I mean? Like people are so stupid, okay. But then my assistant at one point like blocked somebody from my high school and unfriended him on, because I have like 5 Facebooks, and then I have a fan. I have one fan one fan Facebook thing that's not it's not like you're friends with it. It's like a page, and then I have 5 actually I have 6 fan Facebooks, and then I have one real Facebook that I have like 100 people on. And this kid from my high school was on one of my fan ones, so she just thought he was like a fan, and blocked him and unfriended him because he sent me in a private message that photo, that freshman photo, and was like, I don't remember, I don't know what he said with it, but then he like commented to me and was like, oh, you went for it. It's crazy how that one stupid photo taken of me my 8th grade year, I'm not embarrassed about it. I was embarrassed about it then, but I'm not embarrassed about it now. Now I'm almost like, who the hell cares? Like, you're a psychopath if, you know, I'm in my 20s and somebody's like Facebooking or sending me pictures from my freshman year. It's just weird. It's like stalkerish weird and like very fanny. And it's like, I feel like it's so weird that it's the people who, you know, kind of want to talk shit about me that I'm like, I don't even know you. Whatever. Okay, sorry, that was like a long rant. So that, my first audition, so I'm dyslexic, so reading and spelling was always really hard for me. And my first audition was at, hello, say hi. So my first audition was at this place called the North Shore Music Theater, and it's near where my parents live in Massachusetts. And I always loved acting, and I always loved singing. I'm not a good singer, but I was a chorus and everything. And I've always loved dancing and whatnot. So my mom, love her to pieces, is not like the best judge of stuff. She just like heard that there was auditions for some theater thing for kids. So she brought me, and I was probably like maybe 8 years old. So at 8, I still was really struggling with singing and spelling and letters and how letters worked and everything. So my mom took me to this audition, and I was like very unprepared, and all the kids that were there, they had been in, you know, countless acting classes and singing classes and done all this stuff, and I hadn't done any of that. And so I had like some music paper, and I was, you know, supposed to sing, and everybody had great voices, and I had a horrible voice, and I was off key, and I wasn't like it was just, I was off tempo, everything was awful. And I could just tell from everyone's faces that I was like awful. And then they were like, oh, well, why don't you just sing the alphabet? Which is like great for a dyslexic person. So I'm like singing the alphabet, doing the alphabet wrong, and then they give you sides, which are like, it's like a part of the script, which I had never, ever, like not one time read a script in front of someone or read a side. So my mom definitely should have like, you know, done that with me beforehand. So I was like shaking and I had like paper over my face and I was like saying the words wrong and I was just like, everyone just felt bad for me. I was just a mess. And they did dancing and I completely sucked at that too because it was all choreographed and like these kids were, I was in ballet and stuff when I was little, but I wasn't doing it at that point. I just sucked. Like there was nothing I was good at this audition. And my parents just never should have brought me to that. There was another horrible audition I went to when I was around that age that it was like for some modeling thing, but they wanted you to go up and read a script. And my mom, no, I wasn't around that age. I think I was like 11 or 12. And by that point, I was able to read and I was able to like spell and do stuff, but my mom went up because she thought I was gonna be nervous and said to the people, oh, my daughter can't read. Can she just do something else? So every single, oh my God, it's like so embarrassing to talk about. I wanna like scream and cry. So every single other person that went up there said, like, they did this like little monologue. And then I went up there and I'm like, hi, I'm Kristen, I'm 11, I like dogs and cats and I like animals and I like to act and I'm animals and like got off stage. And it was just so embarrassing because every single other kid that was auditioning and like everybody that was there at that point like realized like, oh, she can't read. Like I was stupid, which I could read at that point. But I understand that my mom just didn't want to make me feel like embarrassed or scared, but it did the exact opposite. And it was like the most embarrassing thing and it like really scarred me for life. And now I go to auditions frequently and I think that there's still a little part of me that remembers that because it was just crushing. It was like just so weird and crazy and yeah, I don't know. Okay. I think that may be the most like embarrassing thing of all of this because like when you like look at people's faces and you see in their eyes just like kind of like disgust and kind of like sorry for you. I don't know, that was pretty horrible. Okay, so those are my top 10 most embarrassing things. Probably a huge video, sorry, but if you guys stuck around, I love you, thank you. Please give my video a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed.